Hey guys, kind of feels weird doing a lawnmower video today. It is currently snowing, October 20th. Can't believe it. But anyways, so I picked this one up last week, I think. So I actually paid for this one, $50. But this one's special because I've been looking for a dethatcher for a while for the Toro. And this is actually the second one I've purchased. But none of them that are listed on Craigslist or Facebook or whatever come with the bolts. So everyone has sold their mower already and just has this sitting around in the back of their shed, and they're like, oh, well, here you go. And well, they take special bolts. So I bought this one as a package. So you can see it's got this special stop bracket. It's got a special extended bolt for the wheels on both sides. So plan is that I'm going to save all the unique parts for the dethatcher, put it on mower that I want to keep, and then we'll put this one back together with standard axle nuts or axle bolts for a Super Recycler, and then we'll sell this one, I'm guessing in the spring now that it's snowing. But anyways, so it's a Super Recycler with the Briggs overhead valve. It is not the later one that had the oil filter. That would have been nice. Probably would have kept it then, but it's the older style with the older bag setup. Comes with the original manual. It's a electric start, so it came with the charger, which is the other thing that I want, because nobody ever has a charger for it. It is missing the key, but I think Toro has a standardized key, so we'll have to look into that. She said the battery's never been replaced, so obviously I don't need a new battery for the electric start to work. And she said that they stopped using it because it would run, but it would die, or it would run, but it wouldn't restart if it was hot. So it sounds like it could have been a carb or maybe a coil issue, magneto. And then she said it hasn't been used in over a year, so obviously it's probably got carb issues right now. But let's give it a shot and see if it'll start. Okay, so it looks like it could do a flat screwdriver or a socket. I don't know what size it is. Those. Needs a carb clean. Okay, I guess we'll do that next. Actually, before I do the carb clean, so she said that she had issues with them coming loose, so that's why she duct taped all the handles. Not really sure why. But what did come loose, that one's got a bolt. That one's missing a bolt. So let me see if I can find a nut and bolt and put that together first. There we go. Should be good enough, at least for temporary. At least it holds it a little more still. It's interesting how these handles move. If that's just an old Toro design, or if they just need to get really tightened, and then they'll be okay. Seems weird because they've got the triangulated bracket there. I think that would keep it still. Okay, let's do the carb next. Okay. I think this is actually the first of the old Briggs overhead valves I've ever pulled the carb on. I've had another Super Recycler with this setup. That one had the oil filter on it, but didn't need any carb work. That one was just just a well-priced flip. So intake is slightly dirty. Careful of the gasket there, I guess. Next size up. Might be a 3 lights. I think in millimeter, just because I never really did well with the whole what size is the fraction, what's the next fraction larger. Sit there and think about it too long, so I prefer millimeters. Let's see, undo the spring. See which way, oh the curve, where the bracket goes backwards. I'm going to pull the gas line off first. How much gas is in there? Oh, it's basically empty. I wonder if it's just out of gas. Still not a bad idea to check the carb out. Yep, out of gas. Huh, I wonder if that's all it was. Carb ball is probably 1/2 inch. Yep, 1/2 inch. Be careful of this gasket so I don't wreck it. Do not have a gasket kit for this. Okay. Trying to make sure I'm doing this where you can see. So first the bowl nut. Camera's too low, but the bowl nut's really pretty decent. You can see through the hole. Oh yeah, carb is clean. It was probably just out of gas. Okay, well let's put it back together and put some gas in it. Well, that's interesting then. If it did have a problem before, so I'm thinking the problem wasn't carb related. So it's either, so if it's not able to restart, it could mean that the gas tank's not venting, or that the coil's getting too hot. I'd assume it's probably the coil getting too hot, but not back on. I'm not trying to impact it on, I'm just too lazy to find a socket right now, or a wrench, I mean. There we go. Not trying to make it tight, just tight enough. Let me off just get some of this crud off the outside of it. It's easier to tell someone that the mower's been gone through if it's not caked in dirt. Spray a little carb cleaner on this.
Yeah, it looks a little better. Where'd the gasket go? Oh, here it is. Actually, we should put this back in here first. There we go. Like I said, I'm not trying to impact this stuff on. Impact driver doesn't do a lot of force, but just too late to try to find my ratchet. So, but if you get these started first, and then don't let it drive down hard, it's really no different than doing it by hand. Just gotta make sure you get it started. Stripping it is not fun. It's pretty easy to do with these blocks. Go. The fuel line back up. Put the clamp back on. Sorry if my arm's in the way. If I could figure out how to do this one-handed, it'd probably be a lot better at this. There we go. Spray this with some carb cleaner too. Just try to get the bulk of the muck off. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do any more pressure washing this year, but I can always pressure wash it right before I sell it if it's nice out. Or I noticed that Henriette Mowers and Blowers is working with Super Clean and had a pretty good result with some of their spray-on cleaners. So I suppose I could get some of that and use that instead of a pressure washer in winter. There we go. A little bit better. Okay, there we go. So it looks like it uses these two holes on the intake, or air filter housing, I guess. There we go. That one started. Start the other one. Make sure it's going through the gasket correctly. There we go. Hook up the breather hose. Switch back to 8mm, which I know is wrong since the new standard, but what's that? 5/16? Something like that. Oops. There we go. Okay. Put the air filter back on. Reach. Air filter looks clean. So she did say before they started having issues with it that it was getting maintained almost every year. She didn't seem like she knew a lot about it, so you know, it sounds like it's probably someone else that was taking care of it, so I don't know if it was her husband or something, but for some reason stopped taking care of it and decided to get rid of it, so I wasn't about to ask. A little too personal for me. Okay. Found the holes. That's what she said. Okay. Let's try to get some gas in here. Isn't this crazy? Yeah. It's not much yet, but it's a winter storm warning, so we actually might have snow accumulatory. It's nuts. Anyways, so put some gas in. Let's do a prime here. That works. 4 primes. Hold on, wait. Gotta find something to hold the camera with. Gotta find my tripod again. Okay, let's give this a shot. Well, that didn't sound right. I think the RPM is way too low. Okay. How many of you were yelling at me? You forgot to cut the screw, you idiot. Let's hook that back up. Hard to do one-handed. Need a tripod. Gotta figure where that went. Maybe backside first. There we go, backside first. That should work better. Like, let's try it again. Sounds pretty good. Self-propel works. Sounded like it was a good RPM that time. Let's take a look at the rest of it now. So first, I'm really curious about these duct tapes. Been on there for a long time. That duct tape has not much stick left. In fact, it was on all 4 when I bought it, so one disappeared probably on the way home. Huh. Yeah, they all feel tight. I have a feeling. Well, okay, so it is a little loose. Wonder if we need to reshape these. Usually Toros are pretty good. These aren't factory Toros because I think those usually have a V shape, so they fit better in there. Let's see if I can find some Toro ones. Let's see what else. For some reason the wheels are all chewed up. I have to find some other wheels. I don't know how you do that.
Electric start. We'll probably have to wait on that. I'll have to order batteries so I can test that out. Really, I don't think there's anything else to do. Well, I suppose I could hook up the dethatcher, see how that works. So, it looks pretty straightforward. Looks like it has these sliding brackets that lock it on. So I have both of them open. Goes right over the axles. Oh, there we go. That one locked. There we go. Second hand. Now I can knock them out. So now, the dethatcher is attached. They even have this rope on here. I'm guessing they use this to be able to, yeah, look at that. So, you'll probably figure out somewhere to tie that up to. That way when you're wanting to not use it, or if you get stuck on some leaves or whatever, you can lift it up, drop it back down. It's pretty slick. In fact, probably just leave it on, well, kind of spiky death machine if you leave it on, so maybe not. It comes off really easily, so. Yeah. I suppose we could just kind of do something like that. And then lift it up, drop it down. It's actually pretty slick. Well, maybe trying to figure out if I want to take that off. I don't think I want to keep this mower. I like the newer generation SR4 is better. So yeah, maybe we'll see if I can uninstall the kit from here and just put normal axle bolts on here and get this ready for sale. Okay, so here's what the dethatcher kit looks like. So it has a longer bolt with a washer, and then on the back side has a spacer and another washer. So it kind of goes on like this. So here's a standard axle for comparison. So you can see the difference. This is the standard axle section. So axle only goes in that far, whereas with this one, you have the spacer to push it out. And it looks like it's also a longer axle, or longer threads, but I'm sure it's supposed to be a universal kit between Toros, so I'm sure there's some models where they need the extra and some don't. So, one thing I did notice, I don't know if this is how it normally is, the threads are only at the very back. The threads up front aren't there, so I don't know if I thought it had threads all the way through normally, but so I don't know if they got stripped when they installed it, or if they really only have just a handful of threads. So, and then it has this piece. So I think, if I remember correctly, this is called the stop angle or something like that. So it rests on there. Interesting, it doesn't actually line up. Oh, there we go. I bet you it was on wrong, because I think it was set up like that. No, maybe it was like this. Yeah, maybe it was like that. Sorry. So that way the dethatcher can't go down any further. So, but like I said, every used dethatcher I've seen doesn't come with any of these parts. It's only the main unit.
So apparently these parts do exist, but they get really spendy really quick. I started pricing them out and it got up to $40 before I stopped, and I didn't even have all the pieces. So I already got the other wheel swapped out, so you can see there's no spacer. So this is the spare axle I had, so I'm going to swap the other wheel on, and the dethatcher will be set aside for my other mower. So I was trying to tighten the handles, and I wanted to look and see if I could find another handle. So here's an actual Toro one, so you can see how it's got a small taper there. Whereas this one doesn't, it's flat, and so it was trying to tighten, but it just couldn't tighten all the way. So now I got one of those replaced, and now it's a lot tighter. I also tightened the bolts at the bottom, so it's a lot tighter too. So I get this last one on, and I think these are, even though these are still that same universal style, I think they'll be okay. Maybe I'll take one off and take a look at it.
So there she is with the initial wipe down. So what do we have to do? We took the dethatcher off, did the carb clean, replaced the turn handles on the self-propel, or on the handle. Self-propel works fine on here. Electric start, I need to find a battery. I tried to do some quick Googling and can't really find the right dimensions. It's a really tight box for that battery. So then the key also is missing for the electric start. So without the electric start, it's still probably $200. So maybe come spring, maybe you can get $250 for an electric start one. It's kind of pushing it on an older style like this. We'll see. It'd be fun to get a battery so I can test the charger anyways. Charger I won't sell with it. I'll keep the charger so I can have a test charger. So even if I sell it for $150, still got a free dethatcher kit and a free Toro charger. So not bad for $50. So I still want to look and see if there's something I can do about these wheels. I'm not really sure what to do. I don't know if I just want to sand them down. I don't know. Has anyone ever looked up batteries for these old ones? They're a Panasonic UP-RW1220P1. So an actual replacement battery is like $130, so I'm not doing that, but usually you can get it in aftermarket for $15 or $25. So let me know if anyone knows about any of those. Actually, I never even looked at the blade on this one. What it looks like. Ooh. Blade's actually in nice shape. Probably just do a quick sharpen on it, and if I can ever do a pressure wash, I'll pressure wash this and clean it up more. Hopefully the freezing weather goes away in the next couple days and I can get a pressure wash done on this. So I think that's everything on this one. At least until I can get a couple parts for the electric start system, but probably won't do an update on that. So, well, I think that's the end of this one. Off to the next one.